Welcome to Atomic History, where we go into much more depth on specific historical events using maps. Today we look at the troop movements during the Paraguayan War. The Paraguayan War, also known as the War of the Triple Alliance, was a conflict between Paraguay and the Triple Alliance, which consisted of Uruguay, Argentina, and Brazil. The war was fought for the control of the territories claimed by Paraguay. It was also fought in order to support the Blanco allies in Uruguay, who were just overthrown via a Brazilian intervention. The war began on December 13th, 1864, when dictator Solano Lopez invaded the Mato Grosso region of South Brazil. Paraguayan forces occupied Carumba, Newark, Miranda, and Coxim. The Brazilian army attempted to push out the Paraguayans, but initially failed. On the southern front, Lopez wanted to connect Paraguay with Uruguay in order to bolster his Blanco allies in Uruguay. However, this meant having to march through Argentine territory. Lopez demanded Argentina allow the Paraguayan troops to navigate down the Rio de la Plata basin. In response, Argentina declared war on Paraguay, allying itself with Uruguay and Brazil, forming the Triple Alliance. In the meantime, Paraguayan forces under General Robles marched down the Rio de la Plata basin. Whoever controlled the rivers would win the war, so establishing dominance in the Parana and the Uruguay rivers was imperative. Paraguayan troops proceeded to occupy Corrientes and San Cosme in Argentina. However, on June 11th, 1865, the Brazilian fleet smashed the Paraguayan navy at the Battle of Riachuelo, effectively deciding the outcome of the war by cutting off Paraguay's access to the outside world. While Lopez ordered the retreat at Corrientes, Paraguayan troops advanced down the Uruguay River, taking Sao Borja, Itaqui, and Uruguayana. This second advance was also halted after a devastating defeat at the naval battle of Yatay. Soon after, Paraguayan forces were driven out of Corrientes and San Cosme, and by the end of 1865, the war had turned from a Paraguayan offensive into a Triple Alliance offensive. Now we'll be using Google Earth for the finer details of the battle. The invasion of Paraguay followed the course of the Paraguay River, starting at Paso de la Patria, right here. One of the major engagements fought at this stage was the Battle of Tuyuti, which would become the largest battle ever fought in South America. Both sides fought bravely, but Lopez's assault was poorly coordinated and chose the worst moment to attack, leaving no element of surprise. The battle ended in a total devastation of Paraguayan forces, which were later only repleted by Lopez with boys and old men. So the Triple Alliance took this area right here, and then they defeated the Paraguayans at the Battle of Tuyuti. The next objective for the Triple Alliance was reaching the fortress of Humaita, which would open up further access to the capital of Paraguay, which is all the way over here, Asunción. So they needed to take Humaita first. This led to the Battle of Curupaiti, where Brazilian and Argentine armies bombarded Paraguayan entrenchments using their navies, but the gunfire was extremely inaccurate and did little to help the soldiers on the ground. Brazil and Argentina lost 20% of the troops involved in the attack, while Paraguay only lost less than 100. After this disaster, command of the Allied armies was switched from Mitre to Caxias. Caxias restructured the paralyzed Allied army, which was dying of disease. Thanks to Caxias, Humaita soon fell on July 25, 1868. Caxias proceeded to rout the Paraguayans at Piquiciri, which is the stream over here. He routed them here, and then he marched into Asunción on January 5, 1869, so he captured the capital. Meanwhile, Solano Lopez organized a resistance in the mountainous north. The last Paraguayan camp was surprised in an attack at Cerro Cora. Solano Lopez was fatally injured by a spear, and only after his death did the Paraguayan War finally end.